So I'd now like to invite Patrick van Waes to the stage from CovationBio.
Hello everyone. I will talk today about, I'll have the picture here as well, about regenerative farming of corn feedstock, which is the base of producing 1,3-propanediol, which is the core business of CovationBio PDO. Doesn't like me? Green button. Oh, sorry. So when we're talking about circular economy, there's several things that needs to go together. The feedstock will have to come in future from renewable materials. CO2 absorption, we've seen a very good example of on running, what can happen there, and then the recycling. The three of them will have to go together. I will talk where the bio-based feedstock will have to come and what type of renewable materials which are produced in a regenerative way can really spark the increase of applications which are having environmental friendly products already inside. So first of all, renewable feedstocks, first generation carbohydrates are very efficient for that. Yeah? And in the process of producing 1,3-propanediol, we are using corn. And why are we using corn? Well, high starch and sugar content is required to achieve high yields in the process of fermentation. Why do you need high yields? If you have high yields, you can make it cost effective. And if you can make it cost effective, the Nikes of this world and all the big companies will be interested to scale this to a more broader range of products. All what we see today is a lot of niche applications because they're very costly to do. The mushroom type of things and so on, all nice, but we need to accelerate by 2030 if we want to achieve all the goals that the large companies are putting up. 30% decrease of carbon footprint or 30% use of renewables or bio-based materials. So in our case, we're using the corn as our feedstock. Now, first generation corn, there's a lot of questions we're getting, and I will try to answer these questions. So we're taking this corn from the corn belt in the US, Iowa State, and so on. This is all channeled towards Tennessee, where a former Tate & Lyle plant, today Premium, is making the sugar syrup, which in the past for the biggest portion went to Atlanta to make the Coca-Colas out of it. But today we're in a more sort of zero-calorie or low-calorie area. So a lot of these products became available for industrial applications. And this is where DuPont Tate & Lyle at the time, and today it's a Premium Covation that's producing PDO, has started that production of 1,3-propanediol in huge manufacturing units fermenting. We have 78,000 tons capacity already today. So that will allow a lot of footwear, a lot of applications in the coatings industry. We're refining the product up to minimum 99.7% for our Susterra industrial PDO grade, more than 99.95% for Zemea, which is going into cosmetics. So, question around feedstock, food. Well, if you look at production of corn in US, only 0.3% is sweet corn, the stuff you get on the barbecue or in the can and that we're eating directly. Now, of course, being transparent, there's a portion that still ends up somewhere in the food chain because it's animal feed and it's also going still in sugar syrups that are used for the Coca-Colas of this world. Now, with the growing yield of farming corn, there's more and more material available for industrial applications. And I will show this a little bit better later on. Now, very important in the whole story is we don't want to have any land use change happening. Well, we're always talking about, it's very nice to talk about rainforest. Rainforest should not disappear, but also grassland should not disappear because grassland is a big absorber of CO2. Yeah? And that's where, when we're farming products, we need to be careful about that as well. We don't take extra land for corn. No, we want to increase the yield in the same amount of land. What you see here on this picture is that over time, the corn producers have been able to more than double the amount of bushels, it's called bushels, that you produce per area. Now, how does it happen? In 3 ways. Hybrid crops, genetic modification of crops, and regenerative farming. So better practices to farm your corn. And this brings me to the topic about regenerative farming and the Susterra Partnership Program. We as a company have embedded 100% into regenerative farming program Susterra, which is part of Lento Lakes, which is a cooperative where thousands of farmers are owning that cooperative. Yeah. So what does this do is that under that partnership of Susterra, there is agronomists that are supporting the farmers in getting better practices that will help to protect the environment, but that also are positive for the yield effect they're going to have. Yeah? Because a farmer wants to make money. Yeah? Everybody in an industry has to make money, otherwise it does not make sense, correct? Yeah? So on the left side, you'll see some of the very important practices that USDA has been putting forward. There's 26 in total, but the key ones used in corn farming is no-till farming. No-till means that you're not going to cut into the ground and turn it around, because that's not needed for corn. Corn only needed a 1-inch depth to be planted and to grow. Yeah? So no need to get all the CO2 in the air and to turn the very good, healthy soil up and down. Crop rotation, very important. Majority is switching between corn and soybeans, yeah, depending on all the measurements that are taking place. Could be that you are farming 2 years of corn, 1 year of soybeans, or vice versa. Yeah? Economically, this could be bad. Could be that you get more money for the corn or more money for the soybeans, but under this system, the farmers are inscribing to do the best possible practices. Cover crops, that's when you start the season with a special crop that's going to enrich the soil. Then, because agronomists are going to measure the fields, for every field, they can give an optimization on what type of fertilizer is needed, how much of the fertilizer is needed, and it's not anymore sprayed over the fields. It's injected around the plant. Yeah, so the big farms in the Midwest, they know exactly where, with GPS, where they are planting the crop, yeah? And then a few weeks later, they will go over with the same, and they will inject the fertilizer around it. So less fertilizer needed and optimized for growing the material. And that's pretty neat. Beginning of June, we're going to bring out some brands to see this visually, how all this happens in Iowa. And then contour conservation management, this is when it starts raining very hard. You have the water running off into the rivers, and so and this is a very big practice that out of the season the farmers are doing, making sure that the whole area is better fitted for rain, but also not losing all the fertilization that they're putting on there. So that's only the top 6 that you have here, but which is very neat. We as CovationBio, we are sponsoring 50,000 acres that are in totally with 175 growers and 200 something fields, and in that way we cover more than 100% basically of all our needs of corn as a feedstock. I will skip one slide further. If we look at the land today used already for industrial applications, well, already for ages, we are using land for the paper industry, for cotton industry, but important biomaterials, sometimes like, hey, you're going to take some land and make biomaterials considered as sort of negative in competition with, well, look what today we're burning bioethanol and we throw CO2 in the air, and we are stating that we are environmental friendly because it's bioethanol where we drive in the cars in the US, or biodiesel that we're driving in Europe, and that gets subsidized because that's environmental friendly. why the heck is there opposition for biomaterials using a very small amount of land in the world? Yeah? A very small amount of land, 0.05%, and it's going to be like 0.08% in 4 or 5 years from now, but it's going to be able to get that bioeconomy really accelerating. What we deliver is not just a 100% bio-based renewable material. What we deliver is also the opportunity for every company to achieve the goals on reducing carbon footprint. We're roughly 50% lower in carbon footprint, no land use change, and it's available in high volumes and high quantities. And with agriculture, regenerative farming, over time, and this is already old data, but over time the farmers have been able to reduce the impact on air, on soil, on water. And I think that is the message you want to bring, is there's a lot of applications that can use 1,3-propanediol, and I'm running over time, but TPU footwear is one thing, polyols in the production for polyurethane resins in the coatings industry, bio-based PDO to replace propylene glycol in cooling systems that are used, and every email that you're receiving, everything you're sending has to be cooled somewhere in a data center. Also, there is a potential usage and a big usage. So basically, this is what I wanted to bring, is that there is already bio-building building blocks, renewable building blocks from regenerative farms available for mass market applications and which are cost effective. So thank you very much for your time. 10 minutes is very fast, but I hope I brought a message.